Hello, good morning. This morning it is so beautiful and quiet. You hear it? It's silent. Yesterday I was talking to you about how much noise there was in my house. This morning it's quiet. The puppies are outside. Logan's already on the bus. P.S. Yesterday he missed the bus, which is part of the reason he was home. Henry's not awake yet. George is not awake yet. It's quiet. My sleepy, floofy dog Bonnie is right behind me, who doesn't make a lot of noise. And I'm drinking a cup of coffee. So I couldn't be happier to do coffee talk with you right now. Morning coffee in the quiet is one of my happy joys in this season. I love my children so much, and the dogs, they're great too. But just a little bit of quiet and having some coffee is my fave. So this morning my coffee is the Sensibus coffee. I think it came from Kentucky, and I am drinking it in my Polish pottery mug, so check her out. This is blue Polish pottery. It was given to me as a gift by Nikki. Side note, Nikki is our give back coordinator, and so if you've not met Nikki Miller, she's our fitme give back coordinator. So 2 times a year we do something together to raise money for local nonprofits, and we've got one coming up at the beginning of December. So if you are interested in contributing to people in need and doing it with a community and doing it through movement and fun, you should join us for a give back event that's coming up. It's in a couple weeks. And Nikki is such an amazing coordinator for that. And she gave me this beautiful mug. So Coffee Talk message today is inspired by my plants. I think I've used my plants as inspiration for Coffee Talk before. But I would consider myself a plant lady as much as I can be. I certainly am no expert, but over the years I have collected plants. And one of the things about the military is that I've had to give away my plants every couple of years. So even once I started liking plants, it was almost depressing in some ways because every 2 years or so, I would have to give away all my plants because you really can't take most plants with you when you move. It just takes up too much space. And they certainly don't ship them. So it was always goodbye plants. Well, since we've moved to Washington and this is kind of our home base, I have acquired quite a few houseplants. And so around my desk, if you've ever seen a video of around my desk, I'll put around my desk on my Instagram story today. But I've got 3 different kinds of Monstera plants. So these guys are the ones with the big leaves that look a little bit like Swiss cheese. They're kind of popular these days. And then I've got a little version that's kind of viney, and it still has the Swiss cheese leaves. And then I have kind of a desktop version. The leaves are a lot lighter, but they have the same shape. So it's the same plant, 3 different kinds. I've got that guy. I've got a fern around my desk. I've got a pothos. I've got some kind of dinosaur plant. I don't know what it is. I've got a money tree, and I've got peace lilies. I told you I got all sorts of stuff. I mean, this is just around my desk. This isn't in my house. And then back in the corner, I have a fiddle fig. So I've got all sorts of stuff. Point is, there's this guy, a Monstera with the vines, who is over my desk. And I got this from somebody selling a clipping down the street. So it was $15 or something for a clipping. So I've grown this plant, and now it's probably, 7 feet long. And I even have extra outshoots of it that I've grown. It has prime time position, PS, around my desk. Here's what I'm telling you about this plant. This is why I'm telling you a story about a Monstera. This plant no longer fits in its pot. The last time I watered it, I noticed that the roots were too big and there was no more room in there. And that was probably 6 weeks ago. So I, poor plant, have left it in this pot that's too small. And I've noticed that it is not thriving the same anymore. So it's still alive, thankfully. But it just doesn't look as good. The leaves look a little meh. I can tell when I water it, it doesn't retain the water as well. It's struggling. Funny enough, I actually replaced the holder pot, the one that the inside pot is in, to a bigger one. But I have not gotten my butt to the store to get the next size up of the plastic pot that it needs for the roots. And because of that, it's struggling to thrive. And this is going to be one of those metaphors that's really obvious. If you outgrow your pot, if you change and evolve, you will outgrow your pot and it will no longer feel comfortable and you won't thrive as well. And I wanted to share that with you because this plant is an inspiration in some ways because it grew from like a tiny clipping, like a $15 street, purchase that is this beautiful big plant now. It did the things right, didn't it? I mean, it grew. It created new buds. It pushed itself to new places, all the things, right? I told you this was going to be a very obvious metaphor, but hear me out. It outgrew its pot and now it's not thriving anymore, even though it did the things right. I wonder, for those of you who are working hard to making changes, as you continue to do that and you evolve and you change and you grow, if you haven't outgrown your pot in some ways, and now you're actually being limited by the surroundings that used to suit you, they don't anymore. I know that that's a hard thing. Crap, it's a hard thing for the plant. I got to relocate it to a better, bigger pot. That means transition. That means I have to take it out, expose it, dust off like the roots, cover it with new dirt, put it in the new pot. That's a transition that's not comfortable for me because I got to do it, and the plant. In fact, they even say that plants go through shock when you do that. You have to be like extra careful when you repot a plant because it knows. But in the long run, what's possible for this plant is going to be substantially different once it has its new place to grow. It needs space to grow. It needs space. You need space. And so here's the thing, like you can make a certain number of changes within the environment that you've already been in. You can grow, you can evolve, all those things. But at some point you will outgrow that pot. And what that means is you're going to need a community that pushes you. You're going to need people that tell you that there's more that you're capable of. You're going to need different boundaries. You are going to need different situations and settings to put yourself in to continue to grow. If you stay in the same pot, not only will you not grow, but you will struggle because you're too big for that pot now. I don't know exactly how this translates for you. A lot of times it can be people, and that's really hard because we love people. But sometimes we outgrow those things. We outgrow those relationships. Maybe it's a work setting. Maybe you've outgrown that work setting. You've been there long enough. It doesn't deserve you anymore. You've outgrown it. It's time for a new setting that pushes you harder, that allows you space to grow. Maybe it's the boundaries around your healthy lifestyle. Maybe you've operated inside of a frame that's kept you pretty small. You've assumed you could never do a class like that one, or you could never be like those people. You could never be a coach. You could never do those things. You've operated in this pot that's too small. And so now I want to challenge you. Make the transition. Make that jump. Put yourself in a bigger pot so that you can grow and you can thrive. And know that the transition does feel uncomfortable, just like it will from a plant. And don't wait. Like, man, maybe the last piece of this metaphor is I'm hurting this plant right now. I don't want to, but I'm hurting it because I can see the time has come and I'm putting it off. And so that plant, it's not just like waiting and biding time. It's struggling right now. It doesn't have enough space. The roots are slowly strangling each other. Man, you guys are going to be super invested in whether or not I get this plant its new pot. And sharing it with you on this podcast maybe means that I will follow through and do it today. Because poor homie plant needs a new pot. And so do you. It's time to grow. It's time to put yourself in a new situation Give yourself new limits, a new frame, a new surroundings, a community that encourages you to grow, people that challenge you, a setting that is positive and nourishing and not one that stifles you and makes you feel small. So that's my coffee talk message for this morning. I want to know if this one hit. I really don't know. So I want you to tell me. Shoot me a DM on Instagram and tell me that you heard this episode. I would love to hear back from you. So Christy May Campbell on Instagram. Come over, shoot me a message, and let me know. Let me know what pot you've outgrown. And if you listen on this podcast, but you're not in our Facebook group, I want to invite you to go to Facebook and search Fit Me Free Intro and join us in the Fit Me free Facebook group where you can get started making some of these diet-free and sustainable changes to your lifestyle. You can start to learn to eat better, to move more, to talk to yourself differently, and be a part of a positive community of women who are doing it with you. You can get a taste of what Fit Me is all about and see if we might be the right people to help you on your journey. But either way, you're going to get value from that free group. So I want to invite you over, and thanks as always for spending a few minutes with me every morning. It means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed your cup of coffee, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.